the rules of the business practices of the United States Postal Service. In 2001, FedEx sealed a $9 billion deal with the USPS to transport all of the post office overnight and express deliveries. In 2005, FedEx was among 53 entities that contributed the maximum of $250,000 to sponsor the second inauguration of President George W. Bush. 59, 60, 61. During the 2018 calendar year, FedEx spent nearly $10.2 million lobbying the federal government, 62, its lowest total since 2008 but more than any other company in the air transport industry. 63, SCARC codes. The standard carrier alpha code, SCARC, is a unique code used to identify transportation companies. It is typically 2 to 4 alphabetic letters long. It was developed by the National Motor Freight Traffic Association in the 1960s to help the transportation industry for computerizing data and records. FedEx codes include FXE FedEx Express, FXSP FedEx Smart Post, FXG FedEx Ground, FXFE FedEx Freight, FDCC FedEx Custom Critical, FXO FedEx Office, FSDC FedEx Same Day City. Controversies and incidents. Labor relations. In December 2007, the U.S. Internal Revenue Service tentatively decided the FedEx Ground division might be facing a tax liability of $319 million for 2002. Due to misclassification of its operatives as independent contractors, reversing a 1994 decision which allowed FedEx to classify its operatives that own their own vehicles as independent contractors. The IRS audited the years 2003 to 2006, with a view to assessing whether similar misclassification of operatives had taken place. FedEx denied that any irregularities in classification had occurred, but faced legal action from operatives claiming benefits that would have accrued had they been classified as employees. 64. In June 2009, FedEx began a campaign against UPS and the Teamsters Union, accusing its competitor of receiving a bailout in an advertising campaign called Brown Bailout. FedEx claimed that signing the Federal Aviation Administration Reauthorization Bill, which would let some of its workers unionize more easily, and, according to the Memphis-based company, could expose its customers at any time to local work stoppages that interrupted the flow of their time-sensitive, high-value shipments. 65, was equivalent to giving UPS a bailout. Independent observers heavily criticized FedEx's wording, 65, claiming that it was an abuse of the term. 65, FedEx Express employees are regulated under the Railway Labor Act. 66, in July 2020, the Airline Pilots Association International, ALPA, the union that represents FedEx Corps pilots, called for a suspension on the company's Hong Kong operations. According to the union, some members were subject to extremely difficult conditions at hospitals urged by government mandates due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 67, FedEx was criticized more broadly for providing inadequate protections and sick leave during the pandemic. 68, allegations of controlled substances distribution. On the 17th of July, 2014, FedEx was indicted for conspiracy to distribute controlled substances in cooperation with the Capri-Smiley Organization and Superior Drugs. 69, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, FedEx is alleged to have knowingly and intentionally conspired to distribute controlled substances and prescription drugs, including phendimetrazine, Schedule 3, Ambien, phentermine, diazepam, and alprazolam, Schedule 4, to customers who had no legitimate medical need for them based on Invalid prescriptions issued by doctors who were acting outside the usual course of professional practice. 70. Our representative for the company contested these claims, stating that it would violate personal rights of customers to deny service and that we are a transportation company, we are not law enforcement. 71. On the 17th of July, 2016, the Department of Justice U.S. Attorney's Office confirmed in a statement that it had asked U.S. District Court Judge Charles Breyer to dismiss the indictment but also did not say why. 72, 73, 74, illegal parking criticism. FedEx vehicle illegally parked in a Washington, D.C. bike lane in January 2020. Safe Streets activists have criticized FedEx, along with other parcel delivery services, for frequently illegally parking their vehicles in bike lanes while making deliveries, a practice that endangers cyclists. 75, 76, 77. They were criticized alongside peers in a letter from Washington, D.C.'s Transportation Agency in 2018. 78. Criticism of NRA partnership. FedEx was criticized for its partnership with the National Rifle Association, which it terminated in 2018 under pressure from activists. 79. Huawei package delivery dispute. On the 1st of June, 2019, China filed a case against FedEx for allegedly undermining the rights of China's clients. 80. The investigation stemmed from allegations by Huawei that FedEx attempted to divert their shipping route of its packages without the company's prior authorization. 81, 82, 83, allegations which have been denied by FedEx. 81, 82. It has been reported that FedEx refused to deliver a used Huawei iPhone into the US. Writers at PC Magazine tried to ship a Huawei 30P from a UK office to a US one to find it sent back a few days later. 84, 85. In July 2019, China accused FedEx of holding back more than 100 packages that Huawei was trying to deliver to China. Chinese regulators said that the company committed violations when it diverted Huawei parcels. 86. Allegations of tax avoidance. In December 2019, CNBC listed FedEx along with 378 additional Fortune 500 companies that paid an effective federal tax rate of 0% or less as a result of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. 87. The New York Times reported that FedEx paid $1.5 billion in taxes after the 2017 fiscal year, effective tax rate of 34%, and then $0 after the 2018 fiscal year, effective tax rate of 0%, as a result of lobbying done by the company. 88. Mass shooting at Indianapolis facility. A FedEx ground facility was the site of a mass shooting in Indianapolis on the 15th of April, 2021, causing 9 deaths, including the perpetrator, and at least 6 injuries. FedEx released a statement early the next morning saying they were deeply saddened by the loss of their team members. 89. References.
Good. So that was FedEx. That was interesting. But now I will stop the video.